ROI is winning in the chat by a landslide, right? But I agree with Sue. It's a tricky question, Marcus, right? Because you don't get the ROI if it doesn't stick. Sue, tell me if I got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure I see you.
Well, I'll throw a little in there. I think it's our leadership's responsibility to make it stick and then show the ROI. So I think they kind of come hand in hand. I don't think you can have one without the other. So I think we need both.
My enablement friends on the phone, that's right. You heard it here first. A sales leader saying it's their job to make the training stick. You can quote him on that.
Absolutely.
I love it. All right, here we go.
All right. Well, let's kick it off a little bit, right? So business can't wait. And as we were preparing for this presentation, I was thinking a lot about the last year and kind of the dynamics of what we've all been through, and really what we're seeing going forward. And the reality is, if you guys think of a year ago, right, we had a new administrative coming in. Everyone felt it was going to kind of be business friendly, and then we had this Liberation Day moment, and we watched the stock market go up, down, and we all rode this crazy roller coaster, and everybody got conservative and tightened up, and pressures on budgets and everything else. And I think what we've all realized over the course of the year is that this is the new norm. So the new norm
Yeah.
is going to be uncertainty. And guess what? The same pressures are still there. We got these aggressive growth expectations. They're not going anywhere. We still have these economic concerns and pressures on budgets. And oh, by the way, we have this crazy thing called AI that we all need to rapidly adopt, and it needs to aggressively change our business. So how do we do all that? It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy year.
I think it's going to be a really crazy year. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that anybody, if we try to predict the entire year right now, will fail. Like, let's just automatically account for the fact that we can look forward a good 6 months, and where AI is going to take us with that rapid state of change. We should reschedule one of these for July 1st, right? And do the second half of the year because the
Yeah,
rate of change is going to be massive.
that's the one constant we do know. That's what we can
Hmm.
count on, the rapid rate of
Hmm.
change.
So we're going to talk about that agility today throughout all kinds of different focus areas. But I think the other thing that just to weave this through and where we're going is we're going to take a look at some of the big trends as we start this year. Where are we? Right? And we have to get our arms around taking care of where we are fast so that we can be agile moving forward. So that's a little bit of the take of where we're going today. Let's get started. Mm. Here we go. Now, are we polling? Okay, there we go. I'm like, are we
Yep.
polling in chat, Marcus? No, here we are.
Oh, yep. Sorry. I got a poll question. It should, if you got a bunch of screens, it's on one of them, I promise.
Yeah, go find it.
Um, go ahead and fill this out for me. We'll give it about a minute. So far, AI in our sales organization has mostly A, raised the bar for seller performance, B, improved efficiency but not performance, C, created more activity with unclear impact, or D, not made a meaningful difference yet. And if you've got any others, please add those to the chat. We'll go ahead and we've got about 40% participation, so let's keep them coming in.
I
Give it
love
another
this.
20 seconds.
I think one of the coolest things we can do is benchmark against each other, right? And I thank you for creating these kinds of spaces, Allego team, where we can do that. Yeah, right? Here's where my team is and where we are in the adoption. And don't you wonder, where's everybody else? So many of us kind of work and live in silos, and your team and my team, Eric, have an opportunity to work with, right, hundreds of organizations and sales leaders, and be able to be sort of that honeybee pollinating what's happening in between the different places, but giving people a live chance to say, here's where I am and see where everybody else is a big deal.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how this is going to come out. As you know, I kind of already have my prediction. Uh,
Uh-huh. You're gonna
so
say it, you're gonna say it ahead of time?
I will give my
Lay it on us.
prediction. So I'm going to say it's CBDA, and not CBD, the drug.
THC, just
Yes,
CBDA.
just CBDA. So I'm curious how it goes out. We'll see what other people think. So we'll
I'll
see.
go ahead and end it there.
Yep.
I'm going to share the results, but I'm going to go ahead and actually call them out too. So for those folks that are listening to the recording later, A, raising the bar was 23%, improved efficiency was 27%, created more activity was 23%, made me or not made a meaningful difference was 15%, and then we've got three of you, so 12% that um, are other. So go ahead and add those to the chat. Let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, I see Shannon's exploring and not using yet, which means, by the way, Shannon, the people in your org are using. You know what I mean? Like if we're not providing a tool, they're just using ChatGPT, and you don't know what's out there. Now, right? I sell IP for a living, and let me tell you, you could go in and find pretty much all of it available out there because I can't control not just what my team puts in, but what any of the people who have taken any of my training over the 20 years are putting in. So it's an interesting place to be. We're kind of in a rock and a hard place as leaders. It's adopt or die or the risk of. And I don't
Yeah.
know if we can even mitigate that risk.
LB,
Eric, what do
it's
you think?
funny. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Like, so what we did is we created a center of excellence, an Allego AI center of excellence. Of course, we have the advantage of using our own platform, and then we actually gave access to our entire company, and then we were able to put some controls in place to make sure that hey, you guys can use this. You can use this platform. We've set up the controls so we're not worried about our information getting out there in the real world. Because the reality is, if you're not providing something, and it's no one's doing it intentional, but it makes their lives easier. They're going to throw it in open chat
Yeah,
GBT and see what
yeah,
happens.
and see what happens.
So yeah, it's definitely something that people have to think about and have a plan for.
I got to tell you, 6 months ago I was afraid of it, and at this point I've gotten to the like, there's not a damn thing I can do about it. Let's just see what happens.
Let's do it.
Right. So the results are pretty interesting, though. I like that you were close, Eric, and
Close,
and
but I wasn't there. I'm glad by the results
yeah.
because I took a more pessimistic approach and it made me feel good that people are like more
Hmm.
embracing it, like we just talked about. So maybe
Hmm.
if we did that a year ago, it would have been closer to my prediction than we are
I
now.
think so. Yeah, I think so. Even some of the research we're going to share is showing the same thing. But for a lot of the leaders I'm speaking to are saying we're using it, we can count it in efficiency, but we haven't truly figured out ROI yet. So back to the very first place we started chat. So this is cool. Let's talk about the pressures that are out there right now.
Yeah, when I look at this, the one thing that the other constant is that the pressure to perform is always out there. And it's funny now that we have this AI tool, everybody immediately thinks, all right, well, we have higher expectations of the reps. The managers are expected to do more with less. The leaders are expected to deliver more with less costs. All these things are out there, but the reality is they're really not fully baked and there yet. So the pressures at each of these individual levers are there, but the results aren't there yet. And I think that's where kind of people are struggling is it's overwhelming at each level of how we're supposed to implement these types of tools and find success.
And let's be honest, the economic pressures, the everything else we talked about already pinches these levels. But there are new expectations coming because of the rapid change that aren't fully defined and maybe aren't even fully recognized. I'm going to give you an example. Okay. So with AI, sales cycles and self paced buying are increasing, right? The customer can get further and faster. So if they come to us, they know more and they are demanding more. That one we get. Okay. But as organizations are replacing some of those 101 level sellers and roles with technology, that means as organizations, our people have to up level. 101 just became 201, folks. Now, and listen, whether it's a full jump from 101 to 201 or somewhere in between, whether or not you've replaced these people, the customers are expecting more. Okay. If they can find it out faster and your rep doesn't know the difference, there's a big gap in the expectations. So whether you've replaced 101 level roles with AI and technology yet or not, whether or not you plan to or not, 101 just became 201. And that pressure is on your reps, it's on your managers, it's on your enablement teams. Because I think the big outcome here of all of it is by the time I talk to people, they damn well better be better than the AI bot, the agent, the chat, the what I could do myself. What do you think about that, Eric?
It's interesting. It creates a whole nother problem. Like if you think about people that develop their sales skills, a lot of times they start out at that entry, level position and they're able to cut their teeth with somebody that's just, hey, tell me about your company. What do you do? Well, by the time they pick up the phone to call you, they're not saying, tell me about your company. They're saying, I've already done due diligence. I already know your top three competitors. I actually know your strengths and weaknesses already. So why should I engage with you further? And so having that entry level kind of SDR, have that first call it puts you at a real challenge. So how do you, because we still need to grow people into sales roles. You're not going to just be able to go out and hire top, grade A salesperson all the time. So how do you upscale that first level, that 101? So by the time your SDR is on the phone with them, they're at the 202 level, right?
Bingo.
And that's the key.
Bingo. So if they have to start at 201, but they don't get to you do 101 to get there, who owns that slack? Okay. Now, I think it should be our enablement teams. But I will tell you, and I say this with a lot of love because I came from, right, I'm a sales leader turned enablement leader. But I don't think our enablement teams have caught up yet, even for figuring out how to do onboarding at home, right? We were getting really good at shrinking ramp time, right, of outbound AEs and SDRs, and then COVID, and they've started to come back again. Now we have to start at 201, folks, and we're already behind. So I think that's
Yeah.
going to be a tough one. It usually winds up falling to the manager who already doesn't have time to coach. So where's the risk there? Oh, well, let's give them some AI coaching tools. I'm going to do a quick chat on this one, folks. Is AI coaching and role playing going to help or hurt when we look at that manager rep interaction? What do you think?
And while you're answering that, I'll answer David's question. So, yeah, here at Allego, we practice what we preach, and we are customer zero, we like to say here. So as soon as it's developed, it's literally rolled out to our sales team. Uh, I do see like we aren't on a commission only type of sale. It looks like maybe you saw that from that's not we're a traditional sales model. But the difference is we're huge believers in growing our SDR team. And just this year, I've promoted three people from our SDR team out into the field. But the biggest difference is we're leveraging our tools to get them to that 201 level by the time they're on that first interaction. And that's super important and allowed us to really build an incubator for how we grow our sales team.
I love it. I love it. It's really good. And we've gotten some people who are coming in saying, hey, I think it's going to help. Maybe it's not agile enough for complex sales. Yeah. And so what does that mean we need to do right now? And then we'll move on to the next slide. And I'm going to say it means I want you to go look at your frameworks. Okay. I'm a part of a lot of different AI coaching tools. And if you're not training your AI what good looks like at the 201 level, you're getting robot advice on sales that has nothing to do with your company, your sales process, your culture, your whatever, right? So, what we can do is put a team together and say, hey, let's train the bots and make sure that we're telling them what good should be and setting that highest level along the way. All right. This is good. So we told we were going to say, hey, we've done some research, right? Here's where we stand coming into this year. And this is pretty interesting. Okay. So sales leaders like you answered our factor rate poll. And we asked, what do you really want from your managers? Very interesting. I'd love to hear if anybody's surprised by this. But the top two answers on the board, with more than half saying, are managers, go do more coaching, interesting, and hold those reps more accountable. Consistent execution. This doesn't surprise me, right? Anybody who's got growth on their mind knows that lives or dies at the frontline manager level, right? So if we put a process in, it's so we can scale, it's so we can grow. And then finally, let's motivate and inspire. And would you mind doing a better presentation, right? I thought that. What do you think, Eric?
It's funny when I see this. I put both hats on, being a leader now and having been a manager. I sit there and go, we're putting so much on the managers, and I know we're going to talk about what the managers need later, but this one just keeps jumping out at me. I'm always saying, hey, you got to get this done. You got to get this done. But I want you to spend more time coaching. And unfortunately, what's the first thing that typically slides?
Well,
It's
it's not
typically
on
the
fire,
coaching. It's not
right?
on
Like I've
fire.
never seen a learning emergency,
Yeah.
which is a good thing and a bad thing. So I think AI can help with the more consistent execution, right? Take less time for managers to have that interaction if we're doing it well. What we don't want to have happen is let it replace, right? I think that
Exactly. It's a
AI,
supplement.
it's a supplement, and AI can help managers find trends to coach to. It can help them, right, assess the calls more quickly, but it can't replace that engagement. And that's what we're looking for. So let's look at what leaders want from their sales teams and get some reactions to this. Number one answer on the board: take better care of our customers, listen and connect. We also want our reps to be working on their sales skills development. We see the gap, right? We see the gap, and hey, you guys need to own it too. We want better, more consistent follow up. I love this one. Pick up the phones. I hear it a lot. It's kind of what we're known for at Factor 8 is building that outbound confidence. I can't tell you how many leaders are managing this generation saying, I can't get it for the life of me. I cannot get them to pick up the phone. We're all hiding behind email and text and social message. And you're not going to connect unless you're on the phone. What do you think? Am I barking up a wrong tree, Erik?
Yeah, I think you're up the right tree, and I think two that blend together was picking up the phone and listening and connecting with the customers. Like you said, they go hand in hand. I'm also a huge believer in getting on site, visiting your customers, getting in front of them, and you can have many phone calls, you can have many Zoom calls, but if you do 2 hour meeting in the office, it just accelerates everything you're doing. And I felt like since COVID, we've kind of as a sales world, we've kind of gotten away from that. Well, we don't need that. But guess what? People still want it. And I have sellers say, oh, they don't want me to visit. But then when I get in front of any customer, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been this long since we've done this. We have to do this again.
We've
So
gotten out of the practice. We really have.
we
I've
have.
gotten out of the practice with my own team. I hate to admit that. We went to a client Christmas party a couple of weeks ago, and my team who lived here in Phoenix came with, and I was like, I don't think I've seen you face to face in a year. We live in the same town. We work on the same team. We've gotten used to, right? I see you on Zoom. I've gotten used to seeing you that way, but that human connection is a big deal. I just want to call out Sue's comment in our comments here that here it is for the rep level. Hey, follow up. And then we were talking on the manager level. Let's hold accountable. And Sue, you're exactly right. It's I think fewer than, and Amy, if you're in the background, you have to chat this in. I can't remember the number, but it's less than 60% of companies out there have manager training. And I get it because you're busy with the reps and it's expensive and the ratio is different and it's hard to invest in and building is hard and finding experts. And if we're not training the reps who are promoted into management how to do that job, we are setting them up for failure. And the failure rate's high, right? It's about 60, 70% within 2 years will fail out. And it's because the job is so different. And what made us great reps make us just so managers. So there are hard skills we absolutely need to learn at that level. So thanks for that. So I agree with you 100%.
Yep.
Let's take a look at the next bit of research. Well, speaking of training, so we asked sales leaders this question: how confident are you in their training plan, right? Your rep plan and your manager plan. If you do the math on this, I'm sad to say 90% of leaders are not confident in the current training plan. So I think they see the gap coming as well. And there's a serious issue here, right? It's a tough one. The problem is that our enablement teams, thanks to the economic pressures, right? They've lost budget, they've lost head count, and managers are left holding the bag. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Is this number way off? I was surprised at
I,
how high it was.
yeah, I definitely feel it and see it, and I'd be curious in the Slack channel here if other people are. But yeah, the pressures to do more with less are significant. And I work at an enablement company and I have the same pressures. Luckily, I get the software for free, quote unquote, and we eat our own dog food, drink our own champagne, whatever you want to say it. But it is
That's a combo.
challenging. Yeah.
Dog food and champagne. That's tough. No, it
Yeah.
truly is. It truly is. And we don't think about it as a key strategy, right? All too often when I watch sales leaders make plans for growth, it's like, oh, well, here's our current ratios. All right, this is how many new heads I need. We don't think about how do we get more out of the people that are there. And if we look at it through the lens of our customer, especially now with AI, that's the smart play, right? What's the customer experience with my sales team? And how do I upgrade that? And if we use that, just like the customer journey has informed our sales process and our marketing process, let's let it inform our enablement process too. All right, so we dug in on this one. Of course we did, right? So why? What's frustrating about this, leaders? 40% answer, it's low adoption. That's a tough one, right? ROI is in there at 10%. So this goes to our very first chat. What is going on? Why are we frustrated? Because it's not a lack of training, it's a lack of impact. It's not sticking, it's not making a difference. People aren't engaging, and I'm not seeing it move the needle. So it's hard to invest in more. What do we do, Erik?
Well, it's interesting. When I first saw this slide, I literally pointed the finger and turned it right into myself, right? I am the leader. I'm responsible in my organization. I'm responsible for adoption. We all know that if the CRO gets up and says, we're going to do this today, people are going to do that today. So it starts at the top. We have to own it, and we have to say, this is a priority. And that's the benefit of what I see is, we go into a lot of these organizations and we give them technology and they say, how will this fail? And I'll look right at the CRO's face. This will fail if you don't sponsor it. If you don't say this is important, this will fail. And, uh,
100%.
and that's like the biggest thing that we can do to help people. And sometimes I've been on calls with people and I said, we're not going to be successful because we don't have senior management buy-in. And if it's just the head of enablement that wants to make this happen, that's great. You're not going to see the same success. There has to be buy-in at the top.
I'm sorry, folks. Even listen, you're 100% right. And we do this, right? We kick off a new training program with a big company every single week. And we require the sales leaders to kick that off with us slash for us. And we are not above giving them a script of what to say, right? We are not above pulling them in once a month into the meeting. We're not above giving them the questions to ask in the team meeting because I get it. Everything else is on fire. I'll say it again. There's never been a training emergency, right? But if we don't show that it's important, it falls off. We show our people what's important to us by where we spend our time. So check your calendars, right? And by what we're talking about. So, how often are you bringing up the learning, the skills, the development in your team meetings? Outside of the SKO, I get it. You all hired a speaker and then we had a happy hour, but that's not training. Now, don't even get me started on that soapbox. But if you're not talking about it, you should be, because it will fail if the sales leader is not at least pretending to give a damn about these skill gaps. We cannot carry it alone as the training team, unfortunately.
Again, I think as a leader, you got to understand it, you got to buy in, and you got to own it. And frankly, you got to explain why is this important to me? Why is your development important to me? Why is your education on understanding our product and the value you're going to give to our customers? Why is that important? And then they'll understand, they'll get it, and they'll buy into it. But
Bingo.
it's effort. It's effort for sure.
Bingo. Let me ask you the question that Sue just put into chat. Who owns it? If we're talking about training managers, who should own that? Sales leadership or enablement? What do you think, Erik?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's mutually owned, but it has to be led by the leader, right? Again, at the end of the day, if your CEO of your company, your CRO don't put their weight behind it, you're not going to have success. But me as the leader at Allego, if I don't own it with my head of sales enablement, it's still not going to be successful. So it's a partnership. It starts with me supporting them and supporting the goals of the organization and them executing on them.
Bingo. You know what? I agree 100%. So, and sometimes the shared ownership is the reason it falls. I was on a call literally before jumping here, and she's the head of enablement. She's like, they've asked for management training 5 or 6 times. And I keep bringing it and then it keeps falling to the bottom. And then I keep bringing it up and it keeps falling to the bottom. So it starts and ends with the sales leader. Use your enablement team to build or buy. Awesome. Thanks, Sue, for that discussion. Really good. So we've talked about what leaders want. What do managers want from leadership? What are they looking for out there? And I love this, right? A better process or methodology. So if you remember a slide or two ago, leaders said, hey, stick to the process. And here we are, managers going, what
What's the
process?
process?
Yeah. Huh? And I think it's great that managers came in to say, hey, and we need more training as well. Now, of course, I think it's great because that's what I sell. But here's what I see, right? When we're not giving them the sales training, manager coaching sessions that should be about feedback, that should be about execution nuance, wind up being training sessions. Managers are individually one-on-one trying to fill skill gaps, and it's exhausting for them. And I don't think it's working. We want them to do more coaching. And so managers are saying, please help make it easy for me. Give me some templates, give me some tools, give me something because I'm too busy. And I hear this loud and clear. I couldn't agree more with these. And I see, look how high these numbers are. They're screaming at us, folks.
Yeah. I think the toughest job in sales right now is the frontline manager. I like
I think it always
reps.
has been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's harder than it's ever been
Yes.
because we're asking so much more and we're telling you have all these new things out here, but we're not really helping you get to use them yet. So the expectation is, well, you've got all these things or you somewhat have them, and why aren't you
Yeah.
doing more? Or why aren't we having more success?
And you're
Uh,
drowning. Yeah.
yeah, it's so
I think
definitely as a leader, I think it's important you have empathy to realize that this might be the toughest role in your organization right now.
100%. And I think it got harder when teams went hybrid. It truly did. In fact, we don't have the results in here, but we asked, hey, reps, right? This is anonymous. How much are you really working? Do you want to know what the answer was? The average came out to under 7 hours a day. So, right, the man, they can't see each other, they can't learn from each other, the accountability isn't there. The managers are out there trying to lead and inspire and develop one-on-one remotely, and they're not wrong that they don't have their reps full attention. So the next question we asked was, what do they need to hit quota? And is it different? So, hey, what do you want from your leaders? But what do you need more of to move the needle? And it wasn't too different. Like, I need more time to do the coaching you want. Again, I need somebody else to help train them. And coming in third place for the first time ever, more and better leads.
When I saw this, I started looking around. I'm like, I can't think of 25 years of sales. The first thing I say, what do you need? And they're always like, I need more leads, right? And
Yeah.
and now this goes to show you how much more pressure we've put on the managers, where they're like, I don't need leads, I need time, right? I don't have time to do anything, and I need training because training produces more time. And so it's pretty interesting how far this has come.
Erik, the bar's lowered. I'm just going to say it. All right. When I was a sales manager, I could turn anywhere and grab somebody that had 2 years of sales experience, a college degree, and played a competitive sport. Like that was it. That was the hiring profile. And we were busy with them. And we had to get them from here to here to be
Yep.
successful. And folks are coming out now very, very different, right? And I'm not bitching about the younger generation. I don't mean it like that. I mean, look at the skill gaps, look at the experience gaps. People aren't spending a whole 2 years in sales. If you're getting them at 2 years and 1 month, they're on their way out. So we're getting brand new, fresh, and we're teaching them from scratch. And all the time, the entry level skills have gone down, the customer expectations have gone up. And that's
Yep.
what this slide is saying. I've got the leads. We don't have the skills to convert them. Okay, it's time. What do the reps want? Because as much as we're saying, hey, folks, the state of the industry is that the bar is lower, this is what we got. So, how do we keep them long enough to get them there? 40% was training, 40% was tools. First time I've seen more tools. on the list.
Yeah.
Career path and development has been number one for the last few years. We must be checking the box, right? More coaching and skills feedback. Interesting. And more time with the manager's not there. More time with my leader is there. So this is an improvement. It used to be, I want more time with my manager. I want more coaching. I need less tools. Why do you think this has changed so much?
It's interesting. First off, congratulations to all of us to kind of close the gap on the skip levels and the things that we've done and the communication to make sure people have a better sense of the company, the goals and objectives. My sense is, with AI out there, people see that there's all these new tools that they need to be successful and they don't know how to use them, how to make it practical. Like we kind of termed AI is all encompassing. So we kind of coined the term internally, like practical AI, which is I have a challenge, a specific use case. How am I going to solve it? And I think that's a lot of what they're looking for is they know they need to use these tools. They know that it puts them at a disadvantage if they don't have them, but they don't know where to begin. So that's our job as leaders is to help find the right tools at the right place and make it practical that actually solves use cases for our reps, not just creates more work.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's good. I think that's really good. All right. So just to summarize where we've been here, we've got a few ironic situations, right? People are saying, I want more skills, I want more sales skills. But folks, take a look at the recent spend trend. Flip that, right? We spend 4x on tools than we do on training. Okay, next one was about process, right? Leaders, we pointed this out. Leaders follow the process. Managers, what process? And then Erik, you told us about this one. Leaders we see that people don't buy into the training, but we don't realize that it's us that makes that happen. Our most successful engagement, those leaders are there every single month. They talk about it, they have success celebrations, they roll it up into their executive summaries. They are cheerleading this effort, and the result gap is massive when that's in place. So these might be the three places I start, right? So I'm going to ask your advice next, Erik. But when I look at this, I say, listen, we all know we want tools. Do yourself and me the favor and spend an equal amount on training. Because we all know that if you implement the tool without the training, the tool fails anyway. But let's stop giving babies chainsaws. Let's figure out how we raise the bar of the humans to meet the technology as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I go back to the leaders. They have to start by saying this is important. They have to go get the resources internally and get everyone bought in on the importance of the tools. And most importantly, you can buy tools all day long, but as we all know, we all bought Salesforce years ago and we're using like 1/10 of what it can do,
I
right?
know.
Unless you train, learn on it, you're not going to get the most from it. So it's, I think, really evaluating the tools in your tech stack, how you're leveraging them, and then training on them to make them productive.
Which is a tough thing to do, right? It's like I
With
look
all
at
of our
that really,
time, it's
yeah,
so
and
easy.
yeah, I know. If we only had more time. So if your tool vendor provides training, buy that with it, right? That's a definite one. All right. So Marcus, I think we just pulled out this next one, right? If you haven't budgeted for AI this year, you're going to wind up pulling it for somewhere. You're buying a tool somewhere, folks, right? And go check the line item in your budget for training as well, because you're going to need both. So thanks for wrapping that up so beautifully.
Just on that note, one thing to think about, a lot of companies have specific budgets for AI,
Mhm.
and you should go look at the tools in the marketplace, and you can probably parlay that in some of that budget into, hey, not just buying the tools, but to train on the tools. So there might be some budget you can pull from that specifically geared towards making AI successful in your
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah. Because people know they have to budget for it, right? So can you piggyback on that to get more of what you need? That's cool. All right. AI raising the bar.
Yeah, I mean, this is the expectation that's upon all of us is that we're going to have better visibility into our skills gap. We're going to get
Mhm.
faster skill development. We're going to have more consistent coaching, and the managers are going to have time. We're going to give them that all important time back. Uh, and this is where I mentioned earlier where I think it's really important of finding like practical uses for AI. So can I use AI in my coaching to not replace my coaching, but to
Yeah.
be able to do it more efficiently, more effectively? You know, if my rep only has time to coach one call a week, let's say, but if I employ AI to evaluate all their calls, give them some feedback, and then you still use that hour to double down on what they learned from the AI, you're going to be able to actually coach on more of their calls with the same amount of time. But it doesn't replace it. And that's where I think people think, oh, this is just going to replace it. It's like, oh, we're not going to need sales managers anymore. We're not going to need sales reps. That's not the case. We're going to make them better and more effective and hopefully give them some of that time back that they're all searching for.
What it gives us is the trend line. And I have to tell you, I spent about 10 years looking for a tool that would give me the trend line, right? I talked to every CI tool out there, all the different coaching tools, and said, look, right, managers don't have time to listen to 200 calls. I need you to, at the very least, track for me. What were we working on last time? And is it getting better, right? Let's get skills onto the scorecard. And that's what AI can do. So my team is using it right now to do this. We've trained our frameworks on our methodology, on our closed tool. We're using a different one, right? It's not just the open chat on this. And then we load up, right? The client calls that are sent to us. Now we used to listen to every single one of those that was just a sample and say, where are the biggest opportunities? And then match that to the curriculum. And now what used to take about 2 days is taking about 2 minutes. And it's telling me where to focus, and I can do it with a larger sample size. I can do it faster. I can do it without bias, right? And if it's doing that for my team, it can be doing that for your team too. So it's all in the questions that we're asking. And once again, the frameworks that we're training. If you're just going to ask an AI bot where the skill gaps are, but not focus it on your definition of good, you may not be raising the right bar there. Erik, I like that you've broken this down into, for some of us who are just starting, these are 4 places to start. How can you use AI, right? So, how can people use it for more consistent coaching?
Yeah. And don't, my only advice is you don't have to do it all at once. Find your biggest pain point if it's
Yeah,
in any of these four categories
yeah,
and say, this is where I'm going to start. Because I think if you try to do it all at once, it sometimes gets lost and then you get the frustration and then you don't get the results that you're looking for.
that's very fair. Yeah, I think that's very fair. It's good. Faster skill development. It can happen. I'm going to say on the enablement side, I build courses faster than ever using AI. However, remember that faster skill development doesn't mean training that sticks. When you're talking about the execution of it, right? Just because you can roll it out faster, just because your video could be shorter, it doesn't mean the rep's going to get it. It takes time connecting with information, using information, and practicing to actually have skills stick.
So I love this slide because uh, I coined the phrase, well, I didn't coin it, Uncle Ben did in Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility.
The
And
saying.
and the power of AI is amazing, but the challenges become you can literally overwhelm your team. So we have the ability to put out, SCORM training that would take 3 or 4 days to build, can take 3 to 4 minutes to build. So with that, it's like, oh my God, I can build this training program and build this training program. And then all of a sudden you inundate the team with all this training. It's like they don't have time to do the training. They don't know which one's the priority. So it's really important as you're rolling these out that we make sure that we're really focused on the big picture objectives and not just getting so excited because we can create so much content and we can do so much that we haven't been able to do that we lose the kind of the big picture, which is we still got at the end of the day, we still got to sell stuff.
Yeah. What's interesting is that I think we're already living in the age of content overwhelm before AI, right? And
Yeah.
if you look at where we've gone in the last 5 years in the age of information and the spike and the rate at which it's growing, what has that happened to us socially? What's happened? We've disengaged. It's too much. We're watching reps, right, disengage from other human beings. And so that's ahead of us, right? We're going to be able to create even more content faster. Well, look how well that turned out so far. I'd want to comment on the fear or the dangers in the coaching. I love that it can help me find the trends and focus where to coach. It can do that for a rep, it can do it for a manager, it can do it for a leader. It can also role play, right? So I think that that can help fill some of the gaps. And I'm going to ask people to remember this one guideline. Let your AI coach the deal. Let your manager coach the rep. Okay. Rep coaching is about engagement. It's about skill development. It's about career growth. It's about attaboys and confidence building. It's the feel good stuff. AI is not going to do that real well. Okay. So that's where our managers are lacking the skills because they tend to coach the deal. Now we have AI bots that are going to come in and continue to coach the deal. Where's the person development? Where's the skill and career development? That's what people are craving.
And LB, that's a great point because when this does come together, that's exactly going to be the end results is that everyone's going to get the coaching they need on the deal. And now the time savings is going to be actually more on the development of the rep, development of their career. And that's going to make them feel good. And make them feel like, all right, I really got the value from these AI tools.
Yeah, yeah. So if you want to put this into action, let's let AI aggregate our gaps and trend lines. Let's do the same against our deals. Let's pull it all together, find the biggest skill gaps, and feed that to our enablement teams and say, here's where my teams are missing, right? Bounce it against top reps, bounce it against career development. Now we have our prioritized skill gaps, right? Bounce it against customer expectations and journey. And now we can build the right things. So that's just one example of how we can use the AI to its advantage instead of letting it take the lead, if you will.
So the only other thing I'll add on just AI in general, uh, is at the end of the day, the best thing that drives companies forward is people. And I've been a true believer my entire career. The first thing they taught me in the military was, as a military officer, is take care of your people. Take care of your people. If you take care of your people, then they take care of in business. They take care of your customers. And if your customers are happy, you have a good business. So what we have to do is to make sure that the AI doesn't. We use the AI to help us take better care of our people, and we don't lose the fact that that's the most important thing in making and building a successful business.
That's beautiful. I mean, and that's exactly what we're saying here on this slide. So any leader knows you've got three levers to pull, right? You've got people, you've got process, you've got technology. So we use this slide to just translate that for you a second, right? So when we're looking at tools, we're looking at process. What that does is improve the efficiencies and the quantities of your sales outreach. They absolutely 100% do not improve the quality of your sales outreach. Okay, the AI generated sales messages are not better than the garbage I've gotten in the last 10 years, folks. They may be slightly more personalized, but they still ain't getting it right. And it still feels like spray and pray, and we're just doing it more efficiently, right? And we're doing more of it. But the differentiator is going to be in the people. So if you're looking at the quality of your customer's experience, then you've got to look at your people internally. With great power
Yes.
comes great
Great.
responsibility. I like that a lot. All right.
Uncle Ben.
So what's realistic? It's a good one. So we said this earlier, right? I've heard a lot of leaders say, well, I'm getting some more efficiencies, but I'm not really seeing ROI yet. So this is our attempt to help us monetize it, right? As you're looking at, as you're investigating, as you're rolling things out, what could the ROI help with? Well, I really like measuring ramp times. And I like it because the longer it takes a person, a sales rep, to feel successful in your organization, the higher their risk of turnover and attrition. It's also a massive cost to you. When you can cut ramp time in half, you actually get more back in revenue than by cutting your attrition in half. I've run the numbers. Okay. So ramp time is a really good place to start if you're not measuring it already. Focus your AI efforts there. Consistency is another area. If growth is on your mind, a lack of consistency at the management level, at the process, at the rep level, that's going to kill you. So, how can we train our AI, our frameworks, our feedback bots, whatever you're doing, to help look at the consistency of process? Now, the other reason that's so important is that the big trend says that what am I saying? Buyers who are buying themselves, right? Unassisted sales, they're going to ramp up. It's going to get faster. We have to be more agile, right? Customers will be very frustrated that you move too slowly. That says to me, if we want to prepare for that, I better be damn sure what my gates and definitions are throughout my pipeline and that everyone's doing it consistently so I can move it faster. Then I can use AI to give me better forecasting, right? And it's been something leaders have been missing for a really, really long time. So I think we can use it to help us with our manager coaching and fill some of those gaps and do a better quality job by finding the trend lines instead of coaching a random call. Now, can it help us with adoption of the training and the content? It's a tough one. We already struggle there, but we know it's on sales leaders' minds. So let's focus there. Okay, let's set these as our ROI goals when we're implementing AI this year. Talk to us about what it doesn't replace and where we should focus.
Well, we know at the end of the day, it doesn't replace people. And that's, I mean, I think everyone looks and say, oh, all these things are going to be replaced, and there will be things that will be replaced. But in the sales world, it's going to replace functions and pieces that we used to do, but it's not going to replace people. And at the end of the day, people still want that interaction. They still want to know, I bought your software. It's not working the way I expected. I'm going to pick up the phone and call you. You better answer and you better deliver. And at the end of the day, those are going to be the companies that are differentiated, and those are going to be the companies people want to buy from.
I couldn't agree with you more. Aim your tools at what's on the left. Aim your training at what's on the right. Because when you can do both together, you're going to be the most powerful. That's who's going to win this year. We did it. Oh, man, look at that. We're coming in on time. We got a minute or two for questions. People can use the bathroom before their next meeting. You're welcome. Yay. I love that. Listen, you just said this, and I love that it's right here on the wrap up slide. As we all implement AI this year, know that at the end of the year, the winning team will not just have the best systems, but their people will be the differentiator in the experience for their customers.
Yeah. I mean, it's spot on. Spot on.
So I'd like to hear this one. As we're talking about implementing tools, we said aim your tools here, look at the ROI. Does anybody have something that they already know they're looking for a measurable result from this year? One last chance to benchmark. In 2026, what measurable result are you looking for from AI? That's the question du jour. Let's end with that.
All right. Well,
Oh, thank you,
well,
Marcus, for putting out the resources. That's really
yeah,
good.
well, we're getting that